Hello, and as Santa would say, ho, ho, ho! It's time for a little holiday merriment. Over here on Google Plus, over here on Hangouts. What a year 2015 has been, with changes in Google, with changes in Google Plus, with the emergence of Periscope and Meerkat and Blab, of course. It has our social media family kind of migrating all over the place. I thought this would be a good time for to invite people to kind of come home for the holidays, come on back into this hangout space, share some wishes of goodwill, some holiday reflections with your G Plus and social media family. And I'm so thrilled that I already have some of my fine friends here with me, and I'm going to just review them each quickly, and then I'll kind of start the conversation off. So, Roland Takaoka, hallelujah. It was so much fun, Roland, getting to meet you within the last, I don't know, year and a half. And the way I came to remember your name was linking the saying of it with the Hallelujah chorus. And of course, we think a lot about the Hallelujah chorus, some of us do, this time of year. So, Roland, I'm so glad you're here, kind of joining us for the merriment. Maybe helping a little bit out with comment tracker. If some folks make comments, we'll see. How are you, Roland?
Really, really pleased to be here, Elaine. Obviously, we remember you from the laughter show and all of this, but throughout the year, you've contributed a lot of support and a lot of positivity, not just in the laughter show, but all around. So you've been in my show a few times and helped out and contributed to Lynn Sanders' stuff, and I'm really happy that you invited me here, and very pleased to be able to make it, which is a rare thing on Mondays, but I'm here today, so glad to support the cheer. I've got
So
my
this
little elephant on my shoulder, and he's playing with some Christmas stuff in the background, so we're having fun.
there you go. And and I'm so pleased also to see, who's popped in to participate. The music hangout man, Phil Aston, with his wonderful musical family. Phil, you're joining us from the United Kingdom, and what's the weather like over there today? Is it blustery, and does it feel like winter, or?
Um, it's very mild, but it definitely feels like winter. We've had nothing but rain for about 3 or 4 days now. It's 6 o'clock in the evening here, so it's pitch black. So this time of year we get all the beaches back to ourselves. Where we live in Cornwall, we're right by the sea, but it's very blustery. Not too cold, but very, very wintry.
Yeah, and um, I we were just talking in the green room about how you had a lovely holiday show with Sue.
Yeah,
I don't know, less than a week ago, and
that's
you
right.
were so thrilled with the turnout that came. So, Hangouts are still happening. They're still viable, and they still provide the technological framework that can really showcase music beautifully. And I don't know if Dave or Sue are still around the homestead, but we hint hint. We'd love a little music in this hour if anybody's around.
Well, I'm not sure if they are, but I will say one of the things we've learned is to respect where your audience is. And just because, as you were saying, all of us are kind of online hosts, we see a new toy to play with, so off we go and play with it. We can't, and it's like going on holiday to a new town. Just because you've had a nice time there doesn't mean that everyone you know is going to come and join you there. I think we hesitated with the Sue Aston show it'd been a long time since we'd done one, and we always got about 100 plus people go to them, so we knew they were always popular for Hangouts. And we'd watched everyone move over to Blab. This is how we saw it, and thought, well, what are we going to do? Because we can't, the level of sound quality we only get on Hangouts. But we thought we'll do it, and maybe looking at the way the audience figures on Hangouts had fallen off a cliff, so our expectations were low. But last Sunday we did our festive show, and we had probably, if not the same, more people than normally go. So the audience for Hangouts is still here. So you should respect the fact that wherever you've grown a little fan base, put a show on for them. So it's not so much that we're all turning into TV channels ourselves. We're turning into TV networks where we probably have to put programs on in each place. So instead of doing one show, you might need to do 4 if you do Periscope, Blab, and Facebook Live as it rolls out. But Hangouts to me is the one that's closest to being TV. It's in landscape. The sound quality is perfect. For the video quality is good. And for all the people I really know on Blab and Facebook, I met them all here first.
And so this has been indeed a place that's home.
Yes.
And I'm so glad that my good friend Heidi Hornline has come in. Now I'm noticing a little echo, so outside of Heidi, if Phil and Roland could mute their mics, that might be helpful. And we are going to weave this conversation back around to holiday stuff soon. We really are. Heidi, happy holidays! Gee, this is now a global show. We've got the East Coast of the U.S., we've got the West Coast of the U.S. with Roland, we have the United Kingdom with Phil, and now we have you popping in from Italy. And so I guess, thank God for bandwidth.
Yeah, and Phil, can you send us a little rain? We don't have rain at all.
Are you sure?
Yeah.
So Heidi, you and Margarita Cristalotos have been so active on Hangouts. You've moved some of your experiments on over to Blab. You and Mark and the Wisdom Factory have had a busy year. Are you grateful that kind of the year is over? Are you taking a breather at the holidays and opening up for some relaxation or fun, or is it still going to be bustle, bustle, bustle?
We always have fun in between. So it's not that we don't want to adopt an American way for working from the morning at 6 to the evening at 10. So far, we could avoid that. And always have some time in between where we go with the dog or some other things in between. So, what do you say? Bike rides. Yeah, bike rides. And I enjoy very much to do not as nice photos as you have, Phil, but just with the telephone, with the photos, and tell people about Italy. And I would love to do more periscopes, but normally there is no bandwidth here, so I cannot. Because I enjoy to show people the beauty which is here. It's really beautiful. We have a winter which has never been bad sign for climate change. So it's wonderful, sunny every day, and even warm during the day. It's really, really, really great. But I'm living in the country without water, so for next year I'm a little bit preoccupied that we will run out of water. So.
Wow, that is a concern. That is a concern.
Yeah, it is a concern. I'm always, very aware of where our planet is at the moment. I have some hope that we will finally change our minds and do something else, but it will take some time until we see the results. Anyway, what we will do, we will go for a fine dinner. These ones where afterwards you cannot do anything anymore because you have eaten too much with some people, and we will watch some. we are very much in watching YouTube videos about, about no cost energy, about the new ways, about Tesla and all these new things, physical, and then our Cat Wilber stuff and new ideas. I'm curious about that. Always learning, and so for me, this is relaxation.
Yeah. You mentioned watching some YouTube videos, and I just want to share with the viewers who are watching live and replay that here in my home and for my family, we recently purchased the Chromecast little device that you can plug into your home video system, so that you can then link your computer to your television screen. We have, I think it's a 8 or 9-year-old, LCD TV screen, but we have watched some things from YouTube on it as a family. Some different things besides cable television programs, and that's been fun. And that's one of the little things we gifted our household with. What I want to do right now, I just want to pause, and once again, I want to say that there's a big part of me that wants to honor the people, and you could call them the net friends that have been so important here on Google Plus and on other social media platforms. And I guess I'd just like to go around round robin and ask each one of the people who are here, if there's some folks that come to mind whose work you've just come to know, or you've developed closer associations with, and just have a special heartfelt holiday sentiment that you'd like to kind of put out there. So each of you, if you just reflect on that briefly, then I also want to mention, for anyone who happens to be watching on Google+, if you have either found this link on classic Google+, or on the new Google+, there is a link there to the event page, and there is also a link to watching via YouTube, and there is a link to the green room. We have intended for this to be a show where, if you know how to function in a Hangout, you're welcome to come in and join in this conversation live with us as a little holiday party. So, Roland, let me just start out with you. You've had a show, the Saturday Morning Marketing Smarties, that has really grown a nice audience during the year, with a lot of people that have been regulars on your panel. But I'm just wondering if you wanted to acknowledge some of those folks, or other, even others that have been really meaningful new connections for you during the year.
Thank you. It's a great opportunity to do that. The first thing is that we just passed through a Thanksgiving month and now a Christmas month. And I think that giving thanks and being grateful and giving are two sides of the same coin. And the people who have been that I am grateful for are also the ones that have been giving so much to my focus and my mission and my message. So I would first want to thank Molly, who almost made it in today, but she was so busy she couldn't be here. Molly Youngblood Geiger, Karen V. Chin, and also the guy that was around for several months in the middle of the year, and that's Terry Lee Britton. And he was just a joy to have on the show and a wealth of knowledge, and he contributed a lot. And these people give every single week with very few exceptions, and I was really the show is made up of people, not just of Roland and what he's thinking. It was a lot of people contributing, and we were natural. There was no actual agenda as far as us pushing our products and doing that, because I basically set up the show and said there will be absolutely no pitching in this show from start to finish. So we pretty much maintained that mantra and didn't do that. So that allowed us to focus on the giving and to educating and to helping people and to coming up with being basically curators of information and passing on the information. So the spirit of the show was really good. We didn't have anything stressing us out as far as like, gee, we didn't have too many watchers. Gee, nobody sold anything. We didn't have that. It was just non-existent. So
You know, as you're speaking, Roland, I remember my shows and your shows, and I'm sure Phil and Heidi, these have happened on yours as well. You know, the techno glitches that happen, and you laugh your way through them, and you so much appreciate the support of those who are with you, giving you nudges for what to do or holding down the fort as you get things corrected. Um, and what I'm seeing now is, you know, when we started doing some of our shows over on Blab, it seemed so easy. Well, now as they develop the Blab platform and more people are watching, you know what? There are more techno glitches over there too. Everybody thought it was easy? Well, kind of. What do you think, Phil?
I agree. I think there's always glitches on Hangouts, but we did an after show party blab last week, and then we had more glitches on that than we had on the Hangout. In fact, the Hangout last Sunday when everything worked. The sound was perfect, the comment tracker worked, the lower third stayed in place, everybody turned up. We jumped over to Blab and it all fell apart. So.
By the way, we're enjoying see your cat meander on through. You know, we get. You know, you ought to tag a little holiday message onto her tail, and it can. You know,
I think I should. But I mean, I'm on all the big social media networks. I mean, I spend quite a lot of time on Facebook, but I have to say that Facebook has become a lot more interesting for me because of all the people I am friends with who I met on Google Plus first. And
that's my experience too.
Yeah.
A lot of the connection that used to be routinely experienced on Google Plus, I'm now seeing. I've now friended these people over on Facebook. What people are sharing there is going a little bit more beyond just what I did on vacation and family stuff. It's broadening out some, and as Facebook has added different features, and now they're going to have their live video. Who knows what we're open up for? But before I go on to Heidi, Phil, who are some of the people that come to mind that have been treasures for you this year?
I would have to say a big thank you to Christine de Graaf, because she opened lots of doors for us, and a lot of things snowballed from that point. So, you know, Ronnie Binson, Mir Voss, Christine Drysdale, there's so many people that I've met over here, Mark Trevhagen, business people, music people, arty people, Heather Crafter. There's so many people, and they're all, and all the what makes it so special is all the people I'm mentioning. Martin Shervington, I've met them all where I've developed what I feel is almost a real relationship because I've met them through a Hangout on air. And that's where it's become more than just a social media connection. And I feel like I know them, and because of that, when I've connected on Facebook or Twitter, and I know when their birthdays are or when they're celebrating things, I just feel like we've shared stuff. And also when we've done a Hangout on air, we call it the Aston Lounge because it's our lounge, we've invited people from around the world into our home, and we're just, as Roland was saying, we've just been ourselves, and so we've made connections that I know that word authentic gets overused, but over here it's still very new in a way. But it just it's just how it feels, really. So I'm very. There's loads of people I should mention. Who probably I wish I should have made a list. But that all the people I'd mentioned are all people, special people, and Heidi, because Heidi's with your kind of spiritual programs, and Sue has been on your programs, and we connect, and plus our photographs and stuff. So it's like an ongoing journey, and I'm very, very grateful for all the connections I've made here.
Yeah, your words truly just ring true in my heart, Phil. The connections that we've made on Google Plus, they've helped grow and flourish, just like little vines and tentacles into these other arenas where we have nurtured the relationships. But it has been wonderful getting to know the real person on Hangouts. And you and I haven't been on many Hangouts together, but I feel like I could sit down with a cup of coffee or a glass of wine and talk about anything with you, Phil. It's wonderful. Heidi, lovely Heidi, I am so grateful for getting acquainted with you and being on your shows and seeing how bold you are, continuing to do really, really deep topics that really invite people to really self-explore deeply and look at the world through these integral eyes. So Heidi, who are some of the folks that you have great appreciation for and want to extend some holiday gratitude and thanks to?
For sure, all of you. Because really, I appreciate you very much, Elaine, and that you are always, bringing this quality of lightness into the world. It's really, really, really great. And Phil, I really all the time when I see your photos and then I see your pluses, it's just a smile in my face, and I always think, is this really true? This connection. Is this really? And then there came the fear when everything is changing here on Google Plus. Will we lose each other out of the sight, sort of, if we disappear in all other platforms? For a week or two, I was really a little bit, oops. But I think we stay connected anyway. You have become, all of you, also Roland, I get always your invitations. I come very seldom because it's not at the moment my topic, but you are in my back as a friend, always present, I see the invitations and smile, and it's just such an enrichment. And what everybody of you said, when we have seen each other, it's so different as just writing. That's why I didn't like Facebook. It's only this writing, and I saw on Facebook all these discussions, and you are wrong, and it's better like this, and I don't see that here. I see here the willingness to just to be open and talk with each other without insisting I'm right and you are wrong or something like this, And then gratefulness for sure to Margarita. She is a really big body and staying there, now all the time, really reliable. And to my husband too, who is doing this with me. He stepped out of invisibility and stays here in front of the camera together with me. He says shh in the background. And then all our guests, they're great. We have connected with so many people. This is just amazing. I find this so much more inspiring than ever to get to know people. And the music of Sue, whenever I can, I go there because it's touching my heart, and that there is a possibility to hear good music on the platform is just great.
So Heidi, I
have to say too. Okay.
Oh, Heidi, I wanted to acknowledge that you really have gotten very bold doing participatory things in areas that people don't necessarily feel comfortable doing online in front of everybody. but you set up the platform for people to do it. With Margarita, what was the name of your series that was about exploring music and creativity?
Fun and relaxation.
Fun and
Yeah,
relaxation.
fun and relaxation.
Yeah, we really had fun doing that. Getting goofy, just being real and just being authentic. So I want to thank you for just trying things out. With all these different platforms, we get to experiment what kind of shows work. Longer formats, shorter formats. It works better on Blab than it works better on Hangouts, whatever. But we get to experiment, and that indeed is fun.
Yes.
What I'd like to now invite people to just talk about is some other type of holiday treasure reflection that you have. I decorate my house to the nines. I don't actually have a lot of people over. Like, it's my husband and my son. My mom and dad will be coming over sometime between Christmas and New Year's. And they'll only get to see some of the decorations that are on the lower level of our house because their mobility is poor. Dad is 97, Mom is 96, and they are just amazing. But part of my joy in the holidays is just over about a week's time, just getting out the stuff and putting it out and, setting up my tree. I have favorite ornaments. And so that is one of the most fun things that I enjoy about the holidays. And so I'm just wondering to hear from each of you just about some treasured activities or moments, either from the past or ones that you look forward to doing this year. Roland, does something come to mind?
Okay, I'll reminisce and then I'll bring myself to the present. One of the things that we used to do when the kids were little, and we're talking about 10 years ago, we used to go to get Christmas trees every year. And with my stepsons and a bunch of people gathering, we would go down to the Christmas lot, the Christmas tree lot, and have horsey back rides and actually put the kids, my three daughters who were like, 5, 7, and 9 type of thing, and we would put them on our shoulders and run around the Christmas tree lot. It was dangerous as hell, I'm sure. Christmas tree lot, it's got spikes and different, trees and all kinds of stuff. But we would have fun playing a little 5-minute game of hide and seek before we chose our tree. So that's something that we don't do anymore. The kids are everywhere, and it's hard to get together. But we do get together, and this is bringing to the present. Every Christmas Eve, my three daughters and stepson and his girlfriend and everyone's girlfriends and boyfriends come together, and we have a Christmas dinner on Christmas Eve. Because very seldom, there are multiple households, multiple families, right? So I forfeited Christmas for today, but I claimed Christmas Eve, and we've been able to do that for, about 10 years now. So we have a lot of fun. We have dinner, exchange stockings, try to keep the gift giving low. Trash invades the entire house for the evening, and it's a whole big cleanup mess the next day. But Christmas Eve is our Christmas.
That's beautiful. Phil, any treasured memories that you'd love to share, or things you love to do, or things you will be doing?
Because we live by the seaside, there's a little fishing village near us called Mousel, and every year they light up and they put all these Christmas lights around the harbour. All the little boats are lit up, and there's like a children's candlelit procession and stuff, and we try and go to that as every year if we can. It's on over a few days, so we don't have to go on a specific day. Internally, for the Aston Lounge itself, it's the tree is the central part of the attraction, which it certainly has been for the cats this year. It's barely made it so far, really. But I think we try and food and drink is a key part of our celebrations. So we do a little bit overindulge with probably too much cake. Sue likes lots of cake, as many of you know already, but we do have more of it in at this time of year. And the children are older, but we always make sure no one is allowed to open a present until everybody is present around the tree on Christmas morning. So it's just a nice time for us all to kind of switch off. All my clients have disappeared at that time of the year, so I don't have to worry about anything. So it's a good thing.
That sounds lovely. On Christmas Eve, I will be here at home with my husband and my son. That's our tradition when he is on this side of the ocean. In the spring of this year, he took a position over in Germany, and he has rejoined us for the Christmas holidays. So we're thrilled about that. And then on Christmas Day, I'll be going over to my parents' retirement community where there's a large Christmas buffet. So I won't be cooking on Christmas, and that will be just fine with me. Just fine. But my family did get to take a week into and go into New York City. And after I hear about some of Heidi's other treasures, I might show you a couple pictures from holidays in New York City. It's really something to experience. But Heidi, back on over to you. Some Christmas treasures. You know, do you do some decorating?
Yeah. No, I don't do anything of that, and I don't have a Christmas tree, and we don't exchange gifts. We are only two of us, you know. And for many, many years, I have stopped buying stuff, and so. But what I want to tell you is, for me, this time of the year is very connected with music. So I always, in childhood, before on Christmas Day, when we entered into the Christmas room with a lit tree, we sang, and I was always good in singing, and I was encouraged to do that. And then later I sang in choirs for Christmas, a lot of concerts, and then I was soloist, and I sang a lot of concerts. And here in Italy, it's a little less. But yesterday we were in a wonderful concert, and I'm just uploading the pieces I took, the video, and you can see them then in my video channel. Really good stuff. Brazilian, South American Christmas music from the 1700s. Really beautiful. And then I will sing tomorrow on Blab. We will try it out, and probably during Christmas time I will also just open the Blab and sing some German Christmas songs, because for me is this I did it for so many years, and then I had a choir every year, and I'm sort of missing it. And now I can do it. And we will have a real concert on the 2nd of January. With two flutes recorded, and so this is for me what is Christmas.
That is beautiful. We will look forward to that those events in January and your other musical explorations, just as we've enjoyed Sue Aston's show during this past week. And Phil, it was fun getting acquainted with your son on Blab this morning as well.
That's the first time Dan's ever been on Blab. He's quite experienced in doing the Hangout on Air shows, the Dan Aston show we produced for him. But it was his first experience on Blab. It went very well. I mean, it was just like an experiment, and I think Blab is brilliant for interviews, for just having a chat. And so I think we will use it for that purpose. But I think we're going to keep our kind of main shows for Hangouts.
Yeah. And speaking of interviews, I now have my interview specialist woman, and she's wearing her Rudolph nose. It's Virginia Parsons. Virginia, thank you for popping on in. How are you? Happy holidays.
Hey, thank you. It is terrific to be able to bop in. I love it that you have this bop in opportunity. And if it weren't so early in the morning here, I would have bopped in with a wonderful Christmas libation. But for now, it's just coffee.
It's just coffee. So you've missed some of the other questions that I've been able to pose to Roland, who's, close to you. You're on the west coast you're in Nevada, right?
I'm almost to the West Coast. Remember that Reno is further west than Los Angeles.
Well, golly gee willikers.
A little bit of trivia for all of you at Christmas time.
But
now
once
I can't
again,
quite figure that out. Reno is farther west than Los Angeles, and you have to look at that on the map to see it. But that's
drop that. Anyway, Virginia, so the last things that folks on the panel have been talking about are just the things they treasure about Christmas. Either treasured memories from the past, or things that they're doing this year or do nearly every year. Is there anything that comes to mind that you want to share before I then ask you treasured people that you would just like to acknowledge, social media friends?
Well, treasured memories come from family experiences. Everyone getting together, being a bit of a crazy time, but also just such a wonderful time for memories. And one of the things that is a big part of our Christmas tradition has been poetry. Not
Really?
great poetry, but funny poetry. I mean, the gifts all are given with a little poem, and it helps them to guess what might be inside. My dad, for years, wrote long poems for his one gift that he would give to all of us. And so the big gift was really the poetry, not the gift. And I have just a collection of those that I absolutely treasure. And my mom was the same way.
That's a great tradition.
Isn't that?
That's
I know,
super.
and I've fallen behind on it a little bit. I'm not nearly as well. Here's the difference. I guess it's what's going on in today's world is a bit more frenetic, although we're backing off from that. But my mom, every year, and she just died a couple years ago at the age of 93, she wrote a poem as her Christmas card. So she would basically do a synopsis of the year with the family in poetry with one picture and send it out to everyone, and people just so appreciated that as opposed to the long drawn-out Christmas letter that so many people write, which and I love catching up. But the poetry is a big part of our family, and I have written. Actually, I wrote some for her in the last couple years. I helped her write her Christmas poems, but up until then, every year for good grief, how many years? She died at 93, so she started writing when she was 20. So do the math. 70-some years of poetry. That's our big family tradition.
Wow, that is a beautiful tradition. That really beautiful. And so, Virginia, this year in social media, in all these different evolving platforms, Google changing, Google Plus evolving, Blab, Periscope, and Meerkat showing up. I know there have been new faces that have showed up in your lives, or others that you've known that you appreciate in deeper ways, because we've just needed to help each other collaborate as we migrate into these new territories. Who are some of the folks that you want to acknowledge and appreciate during this season?
Oh my God, there are just too many to name, but let's start with you, Elaine. I mean, my goodness, we have had some fun out there, haven't we? Which is why I just had to rebroadcast today in a little bit the wonderful interview we did last year, because it was so much fun. And I've had many comments on that show and the fun that they had on that show. So I hope that those who missed it last year will catch it later today. I just have to add this, and then I'll talk about more people. But one of the things that is so memorable about that show is your description of taking a shower, the laughing way to take a shower. And I've never forgotten that. I mean, that is just one of the things when I enter the shower that is now a key for me in starting the day with laughter and not taking yourself or life so seriously. So bless you, Elaine. I so appreciate you and the gifts that you bring. Now, everyone in this panel I know except Phil, I guess we've got to have a chance to get together because I have not met you personally. This would be the first time I think
Yes,
we've
it is.
been on
Yes,
a
this is the
show
first
together. So great to see you. You know, Heidi, she's going to be on my show this next year. I get confused what date it is at this point. I'm booked out through March. Heidi and Margarita were wonderful guests, and Roland, of course, he is just a gem. I've been on his show, and we have collaborated on a lot of things. So, you know, this is a great group right here. I also want to acknowledge Lynn Sanders, one of my dear Hangout buddies who I have met in real life once. But Lynn, bless her, just did a wonderful Difference Makers series this year, and you know she ended up with her son having a very difficult, challenging time with a stroke this fall. And my gosh, she has persevered through all of that challenge and still came back and did her final show last week and did a wonderful job. I could go on and on and on. The people that I have met through Google Plus are the biggest blessing I can even begin to imagine. I never conceived that I would end up with such great, deep, profound friendships and such incredible conversations as I have experienced on Hangouts and on Google Plus. And I'm starting to get some of that experience over on Blab, but it's just not the same. It's not as deep for me as our Hangouts and is G+. I feel so fortunate.
Yeah, I concur. And I have met amazing people over here on Google Plus that have helped me understand so much more about viability of a website and branding and search engine optimization and communication and content marketing. And some of the people who have really helped me a lot that I want to mention are Mark Traphagen of Stone Temple Consulting. He's come on a few of my Hangouts and Blabs. And David Kutcher really helps us understand also using websites with Blogger. He's an amazing resource. Ma'ana Stevenson, wow, is she a wealth of knowledge and so friendly and upbeat. I'm inspired by her work, and also particularly inspired by Andrea Beltrami for what she so generously shares throughout Google Plus and and Facebook. She has now a huge community on Facebook. But I've learned so much about branding, from them. But it's mostly the Hangout host buddies that, I'm the closest to, and there is just this rich collaborative support when we're learning and exploring new things. And I hope that doesn't go away at all. I really hope it doesn't. I want to take a moment now just to, because I haven't done it for a while, see if I can even fire it up. I want to open up my screen share and give everybody a little taste of Christmas holiday time in New York City. My husband, son, and I had a quick getaway for just 2 days. Stayed in a Times Square hotel and walked around a lot. Saw some of the famous landmarks, but I'd like to take a minute just to share some of that experience with you. Let's see if I can, here it is. Okay, so this is this is my front door of my home. So this is the place that I left to go to New York City, and I'm basically give me some feedback to let me know if you're actually able to see this as well. And do I have myself white boxed? Hangout panel, do I?
Yeah. Yes.
Okay. Okay, so we went to see the musical Beautiful, which is the retrospective of the life of Carole King. We went to see that at the Stephen Sondheim Theater. Now, these are not necessarily in a great order, so I'm just going to kind of skip on through them. This is my husband right here, and we're in the heart of Times Square, where all the different ads for the different shows are up. It is one vibrant place, both day and night. This is George M. Cohan, really one of the premier people of popular American music, who wrote show tunes and popular tunes that were beloved by the American public, throughout the 30s, 40s, and 1950s. And so there's a tribute to him right here on Times Square. Here's a little bit more of Times Square. Here, where you see my cursor moving, this is the tower where the ball drops at midnight in New York City as we're entering into the new year. This is another view of Times Square. More of Times Square. I took too many pictures of Times Square. Okay. There is actually a place where you can sit just down on a table and chair at any time of day or night, and just people watch, go in the different souvenir shops, and just feel the festivity. You certainly feel bustle when you are in New York City during the holidays. This was the marquee for the Stephen Sondheim Theater, where we saw Beautiful. And my experience during that show was I reconnected with my own appreciation of Carole King's music, which really emerged during the 1970s for her own work. But she and her husband then, Jerry Goffin, wrote a lot of songs that were popularized through Motown artists and other well-known artists of the 60s and 70s, Neil Sedaka and others that come to mind. We took a long, long, long walk from Times Square, which is at 42nd Street, along Broadway, all the way down. It was probably like 4 miles down to Chinatown. And Chinatown and Little Italy, as you can see here, they kind of intersect with one another. We happen to, this right here is the a Welcome to Chinatown sign. And I don't have a lot of fancy pictures from Chinatown, but this is a picture of my son and my husband and myself. We're eating at a Chinatown eatery that my brother brought to our attention, called Whoa Hop. I could play with that one for some wordplay. We got hopping at Whoa Hop for some holiday whoa hopping and some great Chinese food. Anyway, my brother discovered this restaurant, which has been around since 1938 in Chinatown, with some of the best food around. This was my little orange beef dish, and we had some lo mein. There's Whoa Hop. This view right here is, let's see, I think we were beginning to enter, we were right at the Union Square area of New York. There's a beautiful fresh market as well as Christmas market in Union Square. Here's a place where a lot of people were buying their Christmas things, and fresh produce is there as well. This is a Brooks Brothers building with lovely architecture. There is the Empire State Building. This was the one picture of the Empire State Building that I took after we went actually on up to the 86th floor. And now we'll be getting actually to some of those pictures. These are other pictures of a beautiful building from one of the parks we sat down in just to rest. I forget what this building is called. Oh, this is the Flatirons building, which is a well-known landmark in New York City. As you can see, we had one beautiful weather day. Okay, here's some pictures now from the Empire State Building. These are some of the interior lobby areas. There's my husband and son. And in a moment, you'll get to see some of the view from way on up high.
A lot of reflections of you, too.
Yeah, I was trying to do some tricky stuff, reflecting back in with one of the mirrors in the Empire State lobby. That was fun. But what a panorama. And as I was up there, I just took a few moments and said, to myself, opening my heart, bless us all. May our hearts be open. May we find our way to peace and connection and cooperation. And may we hold in our hearts compassion for all who struggle at any time. Family pictures again. There's one last shot that I want to share, and that is of we caught a reflection. There we go. This was my most fun shot. I caught a reflection of the Empire State Building superimposed on some of the buildings below. Anyway, so that was just part of my. I'm trying to get on out of screen share. Let's see if it'll work. Hold on.
Yep. You're out.
Am I out?
Yep.
There I go. Hi. Anyway.
So we got to catch up with a couple people who have joined us, right?
Okay. We have another. Oh, look who's here. We have Sheila Strober. Sheila, happy holidays. We have a great United Kingdom contingent. Are you in the United Kingdom, or am I mistaken as to where you hail from?
That's a moot point in this part of the world, because Cornwall considers itself to be independent of the United Kingdom.
Yeah, Sheila's just up the road from us, really.
So, Sheila, I'm actually going to be wrapping up this Hangout within about 5 minutes, because we're going to be jumping on over to Blab for some merriment over there with Jeremy Murphy. But let me thank you for your service to Melanie Hall and the Lights Camera Hangout show, all the great support that you provided for her, and what a wonderful thing that is there for people to try out their on-camera skills. Would you like to share with us just some of your thoughts of people you've been appreciating this year, or a Christmas or holiday time treasure that comes to mind?
Well, you caught me on the hop somewhat. I think the best treasure is that Melanie seems to be well again after a long illness, and back in form and back on the show. And we're due to have our show just in a couple of hours. So it's being Monday night again.
So thank you and happy holidays. I'm so thrilled that you popped in, and good news to hear that Melanie Hall is feeling better. Has had just a bout with an illness this year, and we're glad that she's on the mend and serving us in new and wonderful ways. She's been creating lots of wonderful videos to really help us in new arenas. And now, before the time runs out, there's Sue Aston. Hi, Sue. Happy holidays. Thank you I'm glad you were able to jump on in.
Thank you. Nice to see you all.
So any Christmas treasures of the heart that you want to share, reflections, or anything that comes to mind? Don't think too hard.
I wanted to point out initially before you get going that all she did was say thank you and hi everybody, and her voice is so musically oriented that she brings music wherever she goes. Thanks,
Oh,
Sue.
thank you. Oh, for me, really, it's not about all the presents. It's about people. So lovely to catch up with people, family and friends, and lovely to catch up with all you guys. Fantastic, isn't it?
Yeah, Sue, thank you for your musical inspirations for us throughout the year. And when you've taken your camera out and helped us to feel a little bit more of Cornwall, I've caught a couple of those, video sharings, and they've just been lovely. They've helped me get a little bit more of a feel for what inspires you, what moves you, and then what emerges in beautiful music. So thank you so much.
Thank you.
Let me get a just a final word from everybody on the panel, and then I am going to put up on screen where you can come on Blab if you'd like to continue the merriment this afternoon. So Heidi, any final words that you'd like to share?
Happy Christmas.
Happy Christmas.
Yeah. Or
Thank
Merry Christmas, as you say. We say Happy Christmas. Okay.
Okay, Roland, any final words you'd like to share?
Yeah. You folks have given a lot to me in my history of learning how to be on Hangouts, and my social media pretty much began with this family. And so I could break it down, and every single one of you in the green room, including Virginia Parsons, who popped out, are special in their own way. And they markedly have something that I identify with each of you. Sheila, the Astons, Heidi, and you, Elaine, you gave me my theme song, Christmassy theme song. And it's a wonder of the relationships that we build through Hangouts that have lasting effect and value. So thank you very much for having me on the show.
Thank you. Roland, I appreciate you so much. Hallelujah. Takaoka, Takaoka. We'll always remember.
Yeah, me too.
Phil and Sue, any last reflections? And of course, anybody's invited to jump on over to Blab. We'll be doing that shortly.
I'd like to say thank you to everybody on this panel, all of you, and all the people we've mentioned who we've met on Google+, and for making the world a smaller and more connected place. And I think I wish everybody a Merry, Merry Christmas, and I look forward to getting to know you all a lot better in 2016.
Yes, indeed. I think Cornish for Happy Christmas is Nadalik Lowen. Is it, Sheila? Do you know? I don't know. I could be wrong. No idea. Should we say yes, it is?
Yes, it is.
It's Nadalik Lowen, everyone.
Well, I'm going to ring on out this Hangout with a little bell ringing. And right here I have up on the screen where you can go over on Blab. Type in blab.im/Jeremy P. Murphy. He's the guy who's hosting the Holiday Blab that's starting at 2 p.m. Eastern, which is immediately after we shut this one down, like momentarily. And let me just invite all my panelists to say with me some funny words for the holidays. I call it holy shiftness. We want to invite everybody to shift on into peace, joy, compassion, and goodwill to all of humankind. Let's go on out saying, holy shiftness!
Shiftness!
Holy shiftness!
Holy shiftness!
Holy shiftness!
Holy shiftness!
Holy shiftness!
I thought you
I don't think I dare.
Holy
Holy
shiftness!
shiftness.
Merry Christmas! Happy holidays! Happy Hanukkah! Happy Kwanzaa! Peace on earth, goodwill, to all. Thank you. Happy holidays, everybody. From
Bye.
Elaine Purdue, Laughing Elaine on Twitter, and the Holy Shift Show. Take care, everybody.